Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. This is Mr. Middlepath, and in today's video, I want to continue on the topic of toxic masculinity. So I talked about why I don't believe that this is a real thing or a real term, but why other people might believe in it. This is what I'm going to talk about. So let's take a look at this picture real quick. I think it shares some good insight. It's a good summary. I'm not saying that it's scientific or anything like that. It's not what I'm saying at all, but it's a good little summary point of what a lot of studies tell us about how men behave and how women behave. So I want to focus on this here. Wounded feminine, wounded masculine, and basically what this means in a nutshell is trauma, right? Trauma is what we're looking at here ultimately. So trauma for this lady and trauma for this guy. I'm spelling it wrong. There we go. So we got trauma, right? This is what people think about when they think about toxic masculinity, this right here. And really what this is a traumatized individual or someone who's suffering from narcissism. I want to make it very clear, guys, that toxic masculinity, before it existed, before that term existed, we had another term for it. It was called hyper-masculinity. And this was brought up in psychology and so forth about people that join gangs and people that get into unhealthy behaviors. I don't believe that all of these are negative things: dominance, aggression, competitiveness. But when we're talking about hyper-masculinity or toxic masculinity, these things are exaggerated, right? To the point of abuse, basically. Now, when do certain traits become unhealthy? When they go over and above the haqq, go over and above the truth. So someone being aggressive or assertive, that's a good thing. But if someone's being aggressive and assertive to the point that they are fighting the haqq, fighting the truth, then it becomes a bad thing. If someone's shy, this is a good thing, right? Prophet Muhammad actually praised shyness. And again, this goes back to what I was talking on in the previous video on toxic masculinity, that which what we think is masculine might not actually be masculine. True masculinity, as exhibited by the prophets, peace be upon them, is the true masculinity, and it cannot be toxic, right? So the Prophet Muhammad praises shyness, right? But then you have scholars and you have people, and then you have also the Prophet Muhammad himself said there's no shyness when it comes to learning the religion, right? So this means, again, that shyness that is a good trait. When can it become a bad trait, or when can it be extreme? When someone is unable to stand for the truth or to follow the truth because of their shyness, then it becomes a negative trait. So, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, of course. My point here is that traits taken to their extreme, how do we know when they're taken to their extreme? How do we know when someone becomes unbalanced? When they're going outside of the haqq, outside of the truth, outside of that which is just and true. Then we know that this is an extreme behavior. So masculinity, a masculine man, is a balanced man. This is part of the definition. So it's impossible for it to be toxic. True masculinity, I should say. When we look up here, I really like this up here. We see a man, a true masculine man, is giving, right? And remember, I gave the example before of the tribe of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Bani Hashim. Bani Hashim was known for ikram al-dayf, giving to the guests, giving them a lot of food. It's considered not masculine, not manly, not honorable that when a guest comes over, you give them a little bit of food, right? This is in almost all cultures because giving comes from a place of strength. It means something, it shows something, it shows that you're honorable, which is considered a masculine trait. What happens though when someone's traumatized or someone's wounded? Then they have to overcompensate, like the boy saying, oh, I'm a man, look at me, I can do whatever I want, thinking that that's what it means to be a man, because they have connected strength with masculinity, not realizing that part of masculinity is also a balanced type of strength, right? So what happens here, they become obsessed with control. They become aggressive towards people that, the key point here is that people that don't deserve their aggressiveness. That's the key point here. Not necessarily aggressiveness, because being aggressive to your enemy would actually be a good thing, but they're aggressive to people that don't deserve their aggressiveness. They're dominant over people that are already probably love them and follow them. So why are they overdoing this? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ never did something like that, right? Abuse of power. I think that's the main one to look at, is the abuse of power part. And for example, when we see an abusive husband beat his wife because she didn't cook dinner on time, and he says, "I'm a man, and I can't believe you didn't serve me," uh, and we look at that and say, "Okay, he's saying I'm a man, therefore this must be toxic masculinity." But what we really should look at is that he doesn't understand what a real man is. This is why I hold the belief that I hold, and I understand where people are coming from if they believe that toxic masculinity exists. I think it's just a difference of opinion in language, right? In your language, you think toxic masculinity exists. In my language, and I would say this, my definition is closer to reality. That you believe toxic masculinity exists, but I believe true masculinity cannot be toxic. And when we're thinking about what people or what society thinks of as toxic masculinity, we're really looking at narcissistic individuals or individuals that have gone through some trauma that makes them have to overcompensate. I mean, look at this, unsupportive. Again, supporting comes from a place of strength, which is masculine. Unstable. Stability, again, comes from a place of strength, integrating your ideas and your beliefs, not being so scattered everywhere, which is a masculine trait, to be strong and to be stable. Can't take criticism, again, being stoic, not being easily shaken or moved by other people's words is a masculine trait. But criticism here is something that these people can't handle. Abuse, avoidance, again, avoidance, because to share or to open up about certain things that bother you is considered a weakness. Whereas we know that the Prophet Muhammad was angry at the correct time, was merciful at the correct time. He even cried at the correct time. As a matter of fact, we even have the hadith about him playing with his children or kissing, not his children, sorry, Hassan and Hussein. He kissed Hassan and Hussein. And was it Hassan and Hussein or was it Ibrahim, his son? I don't remember the exact hadith, but he was kissing someone close to him, his family members, and one person looked at him and said, "Oh, you kiss your children? I never kiss my children." He said, "What can I do for you if Allah has removed the mercy from your heart?" Right? So it is impossible to say that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is not the pinnacle of masculinity. He is, yet he had mercy. So this shows us that it's not that toxic masculinity exists, it's that our definition of what a masculine person is twisted. Okay? So when we see someone, just like how if we see a wise person doing something evil, we'll say, you know what, he's actually not wise. He might be clever, he might be smart, but he's not wise. A wise person would not do something like that, right? He would not do something evil because he's wise. Wisdom is a virtue. So when we see someone who's masculine doing something evil, doing something wrong, abusing his powers, then we'll say, you're not a real man. You think you're a man, but you're not a real man, because a real man doesn't do something like that. And this is the language shift and the understanding that I'm trying to imprint upon you all. And we see the same thing here, feminine, right? The woman. Uh, and sometimes the men too, if they've been abused in a way that hurts them so bad that it makes them feel like they're not a man, then they might act in certain ways like this: neediness, codependency, manipulation, withholding love. "Oh, I'm not gonna give you my love if you don't do this for me." And we see moms can abuse their children like that and damage them severely. Narcissistic mothers is a real thing, right? But we don't say toxic femininity. We say that this woman is traumatized, or this woman is a narcissist, or this woman has some problems. So it should be the same thing with the man as well, right? Again, because of culture, we have this type of uh, development of language, which I don't think is a true reflection of reality. I hope this made sense, guys and girls. If you have any questions or disagreements or agreements, please feel free to add those in the comments. I have no problem discussing things with people. And as always, take care, peace out, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As a side note, I should say I don't agree with everything here on these charts, right? But I just think it was a good summary, right? It's a good picture for us to see, right, what's going on. Jazakallah khair, everyone, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.